Hi, this is Glenda, and today I'm making an Alice in Wonderland soap. My light water is at 79, oils are at 95, and I've been planning on making this soap for about a year, I think, or close to a year. I made the first embeds then, and then I just didn't do it. So lately I decided, I'm trying to clear up space where my embeds, where I keep them. So I started using them up. The fragrance that I will be using is lavender essential oil 4042, and I'm only gonna do 2 colors in the body of the soap because I have a bunch of embeds, and so I don't want to have a busy body of the soap and then a busy top. So I'm just gonna blend this to light emulsion. Alright, I think we're there. So I'm going to add the fragrance, the essential oil. Then I'm just gonna give it a quick blend. So I'm going to split them in about thirds. So I'm gonna put about 15 ounces here, maybe 16. Is that I'm going to color 1/3 with this purple mica, and then the other one I'm gonna use turquoise teal. When I was making the embeds for this soap, I was inspired in the book and not the movie. I read the book last year for the first time, and I found it fascinating. The author had such a big imagination, and the descriptions were just crazy but fun at the same time. So I don't think I'm gonna blend this because they are at a light trace, so I'm just gonna whisk really strongly to get the colors blended. Okay, so I have them all here, and I think what I'm going to do is that they're quite liquidy, which I wanted. What inspired me to do this color was actually the screen, the home screen on my phone. So it's staying somewhat liquidy. So I'm going to add just layers of pink uncolored, and then it's gonna start with a blue. Actually, I should have started with the blue alone. And what I'll do is that I'm going to add a little bit of the uncolored portion to the blue so that it goes lighter and lighter, but not too much actually. I don't want to exactly do a gradient, but when I add the uncolor, I do try to blend it in just on the very surface though. Like I'm trying just to put about a ½ inch of the spatula in. So something I found interesting with the story of Alice was the Mad Hatter, and I knew, but I double checked just to make sure before I mention it, that Mad Hatters did exist. It seems that people who made hats, because they were exposed to an element, I think it was mercury, which was found in the element or the material that they used to create the felt on the hats. So over time, all this exposure to mercury made them develop mercury poisoning, and one of the symptoms of mercury poisoning is dementia or hallucinations, depressions, extreme shyness, and even suicidal thoughts. What he illustrates in the novel is actually something that did happen to some of the hat makers of the time. I think hats, though, are very elegant. They elevate an outfit, and it would be fun if we still wore them, if we still had them as a part of our clothing. I just remember that I wanted to have some green on top to illustrate the grass. Completely forgot about it. So I'm going to add some matte green pigment, just a little bit. And so I want this to represent maybe the grass, you know, because she spends quite some time in the forest. That's where she finds first, initially, I think, the rabbit. She follows the rabbit. She's outdoors somewhere, and then when she finds the mushroom, that if she eats one half of the mushroom, she grows, and if she eats the other half, she goes smaller. And that's also where she found the caterpillar, who's the one who told her about the mushroom. Once this is somewhat hard, I'm gonna start putting the embeds. Okay, I think it may be ready now. I mean, it still looks somewhat soft, but I think it's ready for the embeds to go in. One of them is the little caterpillar guy, which hopefully makes enough contrast and doesn't blend with the background. Should have thought about that. I have some mushrooms, miniature mushrooms, and the hat from the Mad Hatter. I was gonna put the price, but I didn't get to it. In here I have the bottles that says drink me. Here I'm trying to create a texture for grass, and I made I waited too long to do it. And on this one's the first two, I'm just not gonna do it. I wonder if I'm gonna like the smooth or the texture side better. Alright, first I decided to put the rabbit tail in the middle because it was the biggest thing, but now I'm trying to go in a more chronological order. She first followed the rabbit down the rabbit hole, then and later she found the bottle that said drink me. Then she found the caterpillar who was sitting on a mushroom, I guess. Some point after that is when she found the Mad Hatter, and I think he was drinking tea because his watch always told him that it was tea time. So because his watch was broken or something, so he was perpetually drinking tea because it was always tea time. And the Queen of Hearts, I printed it and then I put some subtoe on the back and on the sides. Alright, so after unmolding yesterday, I left it overnight and it has hardened some, but it still feels somewhat soft. So I'm going to attempt to cut it, just at least one slice, to see how it does. What I've noticed different with this batch is that last time I used sodium lactate and I used it after, well, that's how it looks. Oh, it almost looks like a smile. Good. Let's see, I'll put it here. So it seems what I learned is that if you're going to use sodium lactate, you need to add it after the lye water has cooled down to at least 130 Fahrenheit. And I'll probably put the equivalent on Celsius, because if you do it, at least last time, it seems the sodium lactate didn't do much. You can still hear how it's smearing because it's still soft. So I'll probably just cut this too, and I'll wait to cut the rest until this has hardened some more. It seems the sodium lactate helped into getting it out of the mold, but it's still soft. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.